because you want to see how I got involved with the financial service industry, how I end up selling life insurance, why I'm so in love with the field that I'm in, stay tuned. Hello, 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 everybody. It is Rakia. I am everybody's favorite financial consultant. And today I am just going to briefly talk to you guys about what made me decide to join the financial service industry. So, long story short, I came in as a favor. My sister was already in business and she had been trying to get me to get into business for a long time. It had been a while. It was actually her and my husband, which was just my boyfriend at the time. And so one day I needed a babysitter and I wanted to go to North Carolina for New Year's. And she was like, I'll babysit if you join my team. And I'm like, sure, girl, what I gotta do? So, God just really knows me and he knows my love language and he know I will move a mountain for a babysitter that I trust. So it was a no-brainer. And so I joined her team thinking that I was doing her a favor. And ultimately, she did me the biggest favor that she could have ever did. I did not know that 4 months in, I would lose my job of 14 years. And at that point, I had to decide if I was going to find another job or if I was going to give this a go full time. And so I decided to give it a go full time. And so, backtrack a little bit. When I joined, I told her, don't expect a lot from me because I already had another business. I was already rocking and rolling with that business. It was fun. I got to hang out. I got to travel. So I was just like, don't expect much. She said, fine. No pushback. She just was like, okay. And so I went to a meeting and I was only there roughly 18 minutes. And what I heard at that meeting was powerful enough for me to give it a go. I learned financial concepts that I had no clue even existed. I had to do a reality check. All that I thought I knew about money, I really didn't know about money. I didn't know anything about insurance. So I was definitely a blank canvas. I came in with no experience. And so I left that meeting thinking, man, I'm so influential with my family, my friends, in my market. And then I got this other business that I have all these clients. If I didn't know this, I bet you they didn't know it or they don't know it, right? So I was going to pick my baby up from daycare. I was calling my sister like, man, what we got to do? How we do these appointments? How this work? What we got to do, right? And so, she was excited because I was excited. And that was it for me. I'm an A-type personality. So you tell me what needs to be done and I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done. That's me. So first thing I need to do is get a license. So I go online and I'm trying to study online. Now keep in mind, I'm a single mom. So I got a 3-year-old at the time. I'm working full time. I got my business on the weekends. I'm trying to study with a 3-year-old. It was challenging for me to study independently. Like, I just was not a good independent studier. Definitely wasn't, right? So Alabama at the time had a temporary license. So I was able to get a temporary license, which was good for 6 months. And I'm like, bet, I'm going to ride this out. I'm going to ride this out for 6 months and then I'll figure out how I'm going to get to the class because they had an in-person class. And one thing I love about my company is my company pays for the class. So it wasn't like I had to go find a class. I had to pay for the class. I didn't have to do any of that. The company provided all of that. I just had to get there. But being a single mom, it was real hard. It was hard. You asking for somebody to watch your baby for 10 hours. It was just a lot. So I did the temporary license thing, rocking and rolling with it too. I mean, meeting with clients, showing these financial concepts, showing them the plans that they currently had in place, which was pretty much just a product, showing them how they could create generational wealth in their absence. If something was to happen to them, who gonna take care of your kids, what money they were gonna take care of the kids with, how we gonna pay off debt, if you got a balance on your mortgage, how are we going to go ahead, pay off this mortgage, have this as the forever home for the family like the original goal was. Man, it was so exciting coming up with a plan for families. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it, right? So I was rocking and rolling with it, and then I lost my job. I wasn't even devastated though. Now, I wasn't a happy camper about it, but I wasn't devastated. And so I do feel like I kind of was like bamboozled on the firing type thing. But like I said, God speak my love language, and he knew that I would have stayed at that job, not a good employee, because I still was doing a whole lot of personal development on their clock. And I would have stayed there until something like this happened. So whatever the reason was, and they found comfort in that, I went to dispute it, right? So I drove 45 minutes from my house to go to this meeting. And the meeting was to, if I wanted to file for an appeal for the termination. I had $200 to my name when I lost my job. $200 to my name. So I get to the meeting, I'm buckling my little shoes, I got my little professional outfit on, and I go in there, and they say, well, Miss Givens, did you check your personal email? I said, yes, ma'am, I did. She said, that's grounds for termination. Now, in my mind, I'm like, the job unblocked my personal email for work-related reasons because I was communicating with a producer on the outside. I worked at a prison on the outside, and he was training me how to use a recording system. And it was programs that he needed to email me, but he couldn't email it through the work computer because of the filters. So they unblocked it. I had been checking that email for well over 10 of the 14 years that I had been there. So I feel like I had grounds to dispute it, but I felt God's presence said don't. So she said, do you want to appeal it? I said, no, ma'am. She looking like, well, what you come up here for? She was like, well, then that concludes the termination, and we'll mail your termination letter. I was like, all right. Can I write down my current address for you to mail the letter? Like, I just really felt like God took over the room and was like, don't. And so now I'm driving home like, Corey, man, got for $200. Why the hell you do that? Like, what made you do that? And so then to tell my mom, like, I'm not going to get another job. Like, I know I've been working since I was 16 years old, and I am now a little older, and I've never been without a job. I've never been without employment, right? And so I just was like, I got to figure this out. And so the biggest part of figuring out how I was going to be a full-time entrepreneur was becoming organized and structured. I am very unorganized. I'm going to say I was very unorganized, and I was unstructured. So I had to figure out a system for every part of my life. I had to figure out a system for me and the baby. I had to figure out a system for me and the other business because I still was doing the other business. I had to figure out how to make this business work. And then I still had to fight off the naysayers. It was a real big deal for my mom to accept the fact that I was not going to find another job. I just could not fathom the idea that I was going to apply for another job where I would be 8 hours a day away from building my own dreams. I just didn't want to do that again. I feel like this was my way out. And God has such a keen sense of humor. I always thought that I would be a full-time entrepreneur once I found a husband. And my logic behind that would be like, well, if I don't make enough money to pull my end of the bills, he ain't gonna let the bills go out the window. So we straight out here, right? No. Straight was single, $200, and a baby. What was I thinking? Man, God is so good because here I am 3 years later. This is all I do, and I absolutely love it. I couldn't have perfectly picked this out for myself. I didn't know anything about money, finances, insurance, investments, none of that. Who was I going to teach this to? This is like an opportunity to knock on your door, and you like, this too good to be true. But if it's too good to be true, you're going to have to make me know it's too good to be true, because I was going for it full throttle. Do you hear me? So that is how I came into the life insurance industry or the financial service industry. And what is amazing is I lost my job on a Tuesday. I had my same sister who babysitted for me. She came from Georgia. She watched my baby for the weekend. So I took the class. The class was a lot of information. I felt like maybe I wasn't ready for it. So I never took the test. I lost my job on a Tuesday. My regional vice president was like, if you go ahead and get licensed Friday, and then you build a team of 5 members and $5,000 in premium, I'll go ahead and promote you on Monday. And I'm like, what? That's a lot. And so she was like, you could do it. I have faith in you. I've seen you working. And I'm like, what's she talking about? So Friday come, time to test. Test at 9 o'clock. I call her at 8 o'clock like, hey, I think I'm going to just let them keep that money and I'm going to go test next week. I need more time to study. She was like, you don't need more time to study. You just need to go take the test. And I was like, I think I'm going to go home. She just started in prayer. I'm driving, mind you, and I don't even know. I dropped my baby off at daycare. Was supposed to be getting on the expressway to go to work. To go to the class, to take the test. So to go to take the test, I will go right. To go home, I will go straight. So I'm now at the light. I'm about to go straight. I'm about to go home, right? And so she just instantly go into prayer. She like, Heavenly Father, we come to you today as Rakia take this exam. I'm like, don't know whether to drop my head in prayer or not while driving. And I just go ahead, hit that right turn, and went to go take the test. Get to the testing center. So I'm testing, right? I finish, and you have to press submit, and then it'll come on the screen if you pass or if you fail. That thing said pass, so it must have alerted the lady at the front desk. And so she was like, okay, great, come on, you pass, come on. And I was like, I've been in a rough week, and I was really acting like I was good all week, but I really felt like a failure. She was like, honey, you passed. Come on out of here. Other people are tested, like really disregarding everything I'm trying to go through right now, right? So I get in the car and I instantly go into thanking God because it was all him from the beginning. I originally came into this business because I wanted to go hang out in North Carolina. I went to go hang out with people that I don't even have a way of contacting them today. I went to go hang out with people who I don't have their phone number. I don't have their social media. They wouldn't consider themselves a friend of mine. I wouldn't consider myself a friend of theirs. And I was in dire distress trying to get to North Carolina. But God really set the stage. I would have never asked for the babysitter. I would have never been propositioned with I'll babysit if you join. I would have never been in position when I lost my job, because that probably was going to come regardless, because I just wasn't the best employee from their side. I was really big on personal development and growth from my side. So, but none of that would have played out like that. So I just went to thanking God, not only for allowing me to pass this exam, for putting me in positions that I would have not perfectly placed myself. I would have not willingly came into this field. My husband and my sister were asking me to join 2 years prior. And I just kept saying, no, I really like what I do. It's fun. I like it here. Like I didn't want to change. I didn't know I was going to lose my job or if I was going to lose my job. I didn't know that. But God had that vision, perfectly placed me. And I was a blank canvas. So I didn't come with experience. I didn't come with the know-how. All I came with was the drive and the willingness to learn what was next. Whatever was next, teach it to me. I got it. So that is how I got into the insurance industry. I hope this touches somebody and motivates them and they want to join the industry. If you have any questions, my inbox is open. I am here to answer any question, anything that y'all need. I am going to be posting videos on a regular. This is just the beginning. This channel has been active for a while. Now it's time to crank things back up. It's your girl, Rakia. It was my pleasure.